So, can you hear me in the back? Okay. For those who don't know me, my name is Hartzog. I'm a member of Community Board 8, and since we have 3 minutes, I'll try to compress everything into 3 minutes very quickly. So, just by way of background, I know a lot of you are very familiar faces here. First of all, I'd like to thank Rira and the association, everyone here who's put this on tonight. Thank all of you for coming. I'd like to thank all my colleagues here, Rebecca, Ross, and Dave, for being here, and for you all being here tonight on a humid evening. Very quickly, my background. I grew up in Washington, D.C. My dad used to be director of the National Park Service back in the 60s for about 9 years. I went to work on Capitol Hill after college for approximately 7 years. I worked for the House Interior Committee the last 4 years of that time. I left in '92. I got my graduate degree at the Maxwell School in Environmental Economic Policy. I went and got what I call my union card. I got my law degree after that, and I came to New York 15 years ago. Litigated for about a half a dozen years, worked in firms that represented the Central Labor Council, unions, regular folks, did all kinds of matters, got involved with the Howard Dean campaign back in 2004. Some of you may know me from that time, being in the streets with you, talking about the issues Howard Dean was talking about, fighting the Alito-Roberts nominations, standing up against Ann Coulter, working with the Democratic Lawyers Council, doing voter protection work, because we all know what happened in 2000 and 2004. That's why it's so important for us to vote. But about 4 years ago, I got involved with the Community Board, because that is where the rubber meets the road. A lot of you know that out here on Roosevelt Island. And I've made a reputation, I think, on the Community Board as someone who's willing to speak out and speak truth to power. And I'd like to talk to you about what that means to me, and I hope and I think it might mean to you as well. Something I've heard when I ran for City Council last year. You may remember me from that race. But what I'm hearing over and over again, overarching for me for the campaign, and it affects Roosevelt Island, is a loss of community. And so whether that's a loss of affordable housing in the last 10 years, a lack of pre-K seats or after-school seats, it's affecting Roosevelt Island as well. We're talking about transportation. We're talking about a need to barge 100% of materials on and off for Cornell Tech. It means reintroducing the ferry service we had back out here in the 80s. We can sustain it now. We need it now. It means affordable housing. It means handling the conversion of the wire buildings, okay? And that will mean long-term thinking up in Albany as well. We're talking about education out here. That's after-school seats. We're talking about governance out here as well. Albany not listening to us. It is the only place, I think, in the world where the city owns the land, the state runs it, and it's not here. It's being run from the second floor in Albany. We need to be thinking long-term about all of these issues. They all affect us at every level, whether it's the governance and the ability to make decisions about what we're doing. And it's about Albany reform. Let's be very, very clear about that. I want to make it clear to everyone here that we're talking about campaign finance reform, because that's where it begins. I've made a pledge to not raise or spend more than $250 in this race. I think I'm the only one in this race, when I wrap up here, who has said we must have complete and total public financing of all elections. Okay, complete, total financing. It's a full-time job for our legislators. Enough with the part-time, 2 incomes, double dipping. You're running the 3rd largest budget in the country. It's a full-time job. So I want to talk about all those issues with you tonight. My time is up, according to Matthew. So thank you, and I will turn this over to Dave.